Hello. I'm just getting set up here. Just doing the little setupsies. At some point, I'll find an intro that isn't massively cringy, but this process does still make me very nervous. So you get a lot of characterizations. But tonight shouldn't be too nerve wracking. We're just gonna read stories and get a little lit, like this candle. And give people a minute to come in and give me a second to get candles lit. Because of course we have to have the ambiance, right? And what trailer park storytelling session wouldn't it be perfectly rounded off without smearing off ice? Screwdriver. And all these guys you see in the frame here, these are all little babies that are ready to be adopted all month. So they're going to sit in on us with the story time. But if you'd like to take one of them home, the pumpkin's adoption fee is $20 shipped domestic. And the little bats, I already sold the green one, and he did ship out today. I'm so proud of myself. He has already gone to his new home, but these guys are still available, and they're $25 each. Okay, I'm going to go turn off the light. But hold on, let me show you first. Here's the book. Where's the book? I've lost the book. Book! Shit. Oh, there it is. Okay, look, we have scary stories to tell in the dark. Oh my goodness. And because I'm a professional, I've marked the pages with Jolly Rancher wrappers. So I am on it tonight. Okay, let me go turn off the light. Hang on. Hold your horses. And I'll be right back. Oh yeah, pinky's up. Here we go. Yeah, cheers. Hopefully everybody else has at least one beer. I just been like, I mean, it's like, I've just been like not feeling it, like it as in like life. I'm not. There's nothing wrong. Like I'm not like in danger, but like everything just is like a little darker right now, and like a little fucking sadder, and like food doesn't taste right and stuff. So I'm just gonna ride out retrograde by getting fucked up and high and making weird little. I'm not even like focusing on like, oh, what does this mean spiritually? I'm just like making shit. You know what I mean? Just having fun. So I got all my babies here, and I sent some home today. I will be sad when they're all. I'm not making stuff anymore that I don't love. So I'll be sad when they find new homes, but I'll also be very happy because they need new homes. Okay, let me turn off the light. Everybody, please partake of your herbage if you want to. Oh, spooky. Hopefully I can still read. I think I can by the computer. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I picked 3 stories. The first one I picked is The Big Toe. And I was going to read, because I know Heather, this is from the Awa Shack, AWA Shack in Seminole, Oklahoma. One of my best friends owns the place. Her name's Christy. I got it from her. It was fair price. It's a bit of a drive, but the drive is worth it, and she takes really good care of her customers. It's the Awa Shack, and she gets all these custom bongs. She has a bong there that looks like a dinosaur, and there's like a bong that looks like a Grim Reaper. She has all kinds of really cool shit. And she has a blacklight room and an adult room. It's kind of like Spencer's, how Spencer's was for us as a kid. So, or like as younger people. Okay. So like I said on the message. This is I've been trying to come up with creative ways to like give back to the gods. I'm a folk magic practitioner and a folk shaman, a red dirt shaman, blue collar shaman, whatever you want to call me. So I've been trying to figure out ways for myself, really like dive into myself and figure out what I want my practice to really reflect and be like. And one of the things is I want to bring traditional methods into the current narrative. So one of the ways that I give my tributes to Odin, who's my primary deity and partner in crime, more accurately, is by speaking. And usually that's by speaking. Like now, I've started doing the Saturdays, the Red Dirt Gospel and stuff. But there's way more ways to do that, and it's October, it's spooky time, and like I know that everything's been kind of shitty, but we're just gonna like take time every week to make space for ourselves and to give ourselves a safe place to kind of retreat. And I thought, how fun would it be to just sit back here with y'all for a little while and read a couple of stories. So the first one I picked, like I said, is The Big Toe. I'm gonna read that to you, and then we'll go from there. I was gonna read the Wendigo out of here, but it uses the word Indian a lot, and I don't know if I don't think it's appropriate, so I'm just gonna skip it. But it's a longer one, so I'll try and make this as long as possible without being boring. The Wendigo story was just like longer, but okay, let's go. Let's get into it. The Big Toe. And like I said, I used Jolly Rancher wrappers to mark my spot because I'm an adult. Alright, you guys ready? Oh my goodness, it's so spooky. I have to get some liquid courage for the. No, I don't. That sounds very enabling. I just want to drink because I want to. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. The Big Toe. A boy was digging at the edge of the garden when he saw a big toe. He tried to pick it up, but it was stuck to something. So he gave it a good hard jerk, and it came off in his hand. Then he heard something groan and scamper away. The boy took the toe into the kitchen and showed it to his mother. It looks nice and plump, she said. I'll put it in the soup and we'll have it for supper. That night, his father carved the toe into 3 pieces. Ew, gross. And they each had a piece. Then they did the dishes, and when it got dark, they went to bed. That's probably where they went wrong. The boy fell asleep almost at once, but in the middle of the night, a sound awakened him. It was something out in the street. It was a voice, and it was calling to him. Where is my toe? It groaned. When the boy heard that, he got very scared, but he thought, it doesn't know where I am. It will never find me. Then he heard the voice once more, only now it was closer. Where is my toe? It groaned. The boy pulled the blankets over his head and closed his eyes. I'll go to sleep, he thought. When I wake up, it will be gone. But soon he heard the back door open, and again he heard the voice. Where is my toe? It groaned. Then the boy heard footsteps move through the kitchen and into the dining room, into the living room, into the front hall. Then slowly they climbed the stairs. Closer and closer they came. Soon they were in the upstairs hall. Now they were outside his door. Where is my toe? The voice groaned. His door opened. Shaking with fear, he listened as the footsteps slowly moved through the dark toward his bed. Then they stopped. Where is my toe? The voice groaned. You've got it! Hopefully that scared y'all. I know it just scared y'all to the bone. Because it's scary stories to tell in the dark, not wimpy stories to tell in the dark. Hold on, Adam's scratching at the damn door. Adam, you are a real mood killer. Where is my toe? Come on. Adam. No. Get in your bed. Go on. Thank you. I love you. You're perfect and beautiful. Yes, I heard you. Okay, that was the first one. That was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too spooky, right? Okay. The next one is the haunted house. Oh, and here was the picture if you forgot. These storybooks had no business being in a third grader's library. Shit, I think I was in second grade when I read this for the first time. But here was the artwork for the big toe. He's using a hoe to get out the big toe. Heyo. Okay. Heather, if you haven't heard them, they are not good stories, but the pictures are what makes them. I remember having several nightmares after taking these books home. We also had a loft at my library, and we had bathtubs where they had like pillows and stuff in them, so you could take your books in there. And I would always do that. That was always like what I enjoyed doing. So I would grab these books and I would jump into the bathtub and read them, and then someone would inevitably come and scare the shit out of me, and I would get in trouble for yelling. So always getting into shit I shouldn't be getting into. Okay, here we go. Here's the second one. This one is called The Haunted House. Are you guys ready? Are you guys like super spooked out already and you are gonna have nightmares tonight? Sorry. No, I'm not. Ha ha ha. I'm not sorry because it's spooky time. It's spooky season. We're getting in spooky. Okay, here we go. The Haunted House. Get ready. Hold your butts. One time, a preacher went to see if he could put a haunt to rest at a house in his settlement. The house had been haunted for about 10 years. Several people had tried to stay there all night, but they always would get scared out by the haunt. In this situation, a haunt is a ghost. That's how they're using that word, in case you were confused, because that always confused me. So this preacher took his Bible and he went to the house, went on in, built himself a good fire, he lit the lamp, like he was just making himself like super cozy, and he decided to like pull out his Bible and start reading it. Then just before midnight, he heard something start up in the cellar, walking back and forth, back and forth. Then it sounded like somebody was trying to scream and got choked off. Then there was a lot of thrashing around and struggling, and finally, everything got quiet. The old preacher took up his Bible again, but before he could start reading, he heard footsteps coming up the cellar stairs. He sat watching the door to the cellar, and the footsteps kept coming closer and closer. He saw the doorknob turn, and when the door began to open, he jumped up and hollered, "What do you want?" The door shut back easy-like, and there wasn't a sound. The preacher was trembling a little, but he finally opened the Bible to read a while. Then he got up and laid the book on the chair and went to mending the fire. Then the haunt started walking again, and step, 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 up the cellar stairs. The old preacher sat watching the door, saw the doorknob turn, and the door open. It looked like a young woman. He backed up and said, "Who are you? What do you want?" The haunt sort of swayed, like she didn't know what to do, and then she just faded out. The old preacher waited and waited, and when he didn't hear any more noises, he went over and shut the door. He was sweating and trembling all over, but he was a brave man, and he thought he'd be able to see it through. So he turned his chair to where he could watch, and he sat down and waited. It wasn't long before he heard the haunt start up slowly. Step, 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 closer and closer, step, step, and it was right at the door. The preacher stood up and held his Bible out before him. Then the knob slowly turned and the door opened wide. This time, the preacher spoke quiet-like. He said, "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, who are you and what do you want?" Let's hope it wasn't a pagan ghost, right? Because that wouldn't have worked. The haunt came right across the room, straight to him, and took a hold of his coat. It was a young woman about 20 years old. Her hair was torn and tangled, and the flesh was dropping off her face so he could see the bones and part of her teeth. She had no eyeballs, but there was a sort of blue light way back in her eye sockets, and she had no nose to her face. She was having a real hard time, guys. Then she started talking. It sounded like her voice was coming and going with the wind, blowing it. She told how her lover had killed her for her money and buried her in the cellar. She said if the preacher would dig up her bones and bury her properly, she could rest. Then she told him to take the end of the little finger of on her left hand and lay it in the collection plate at the next church meeting, and he'd find out who had murdered her. And she said, if you come back here once more after that, you'll hear my voice at midnight, and I'll tell you where my money is hid, and you can give it to the church. The haunt sobbed, and she was tired, and she sunk downward on the floor, and she was gone. The preacher found her bones and buried them in the graveyard. The next Sunday, the preacher put the finger bone in the collection plate, and when a certain man happened to touch it, it stuck to his hand. The man jumped up and rubbed and scraped and tore at that bone, trying to get it off. Then he went to screaming like he was going crazy. Well, he confessed to the murder right there, and they took him to jail. After the man was hung, the preacher went back in that house one midnight, and the haunt's voice told him to dig under the hearthrug. He did, and he found a big sack of money. And when that haunt had held, and where that haunt had held onto his coat, the print of those bony fingers was burned right into the cloth, and it never did come out. The scariest part of that one was the stain on the jacket, because I would be pretty pissed. Actually, that would be kind of cool if my jacket had ghost handprints on it, like reverse bleach dyeing. Okay, we got one more. These aren't too bad. I don't mind these too much. I have stage fright really bad. I don't know why. Not showing my face helps a lot though. Everyone I've talked to about doing content creation, they're like, well, you should just make videos. And I'm like, I have too much anxiety for that. But this isn't bad. I'm liking this. Number 2. Cheers. Okay. The third one I picked is, oh, hold on. Let me show you the picture from the other one. Maybe. Okay, it's real scary. Are you ready? Oh my goodness. So scary. That's one of my favorite pictures. I've recreated that on different mediums because it's so scary looking. Okay, here's the last one. Aaron Kelly's bones. Oh my gosh. We're about to get super scared. Actually, this is not that scared. It's in the portion of the book that's more about funny ones than super scary ones. But here we go. Aaron Kelly's bones. Aaron Kelly was dead. They bought him a coffin and had a funeral and buried him. But that night he got out of his coffin and he came home. His family was sitting around the fire when he walked in. He sat down next to his widow and he said, "What's going on? You all act like somebody died. Who's dead?" His widow said, "You are." "I don't feel dead," he said. "I feel fine." "You don't look fine," his widow said. "You look dead. You'd better get back to the grave where you belong." "I'm not going back to the grave until I feel dead," he said. Since Aaron wouldn't go back, his widow couldn't collect his life insurance. Without that, she couldn't pay for the coffin, and the undertaker said he would take it back. Aaron didn't care. He just sat by the fire, rocking in a chair and warming his hands and feet. But his joints were dry and his back was stiff, and every time he moved, he creaked and cracked. One night, the best fiddler in town came to court the widow. Since Aaron was dead, the fiddler wanted to marry her. The two of them sat on one side of the fire, and Aaron sat on the other side, creaking and cracking. "How long do we have to put up with this dead corpse?" the widow asked. "Something must be done," the fiddler said. "This isn't very jolly," Aaron said. "Let's dance." Like, they're just talking shit. They're just talking shit in front of his dead corpse. That's fucked up. "This isn't very jolly," Aaron said. "What the fuck, guys? Let's dance." The fiddler got out his fiddle and began to play. Aaron stretched himself, shook himself, got up and took a step or two and began to dance. With his old bones rattling and his yellow teeth snapping and his bald head wagging and his arms flip-flopping around and around he went. With his long legs clicking and his knee bones knocking, he skipped and pranced around the room. How that dead man danced! But pretty soon a bone worked loose and fell to the floor. Look at that, said the fiddler. Play faster, said the widow. And the fiddler played faster. Crickety crack down the back the dead man went hopping, and his dry bones kept dropping. This way, that way, the pieces kept popping. Play, man, play, cried the widow. The fiddler fiddled and the dead Aaron danced. Then Aaron fell apart, collapsed into a pile of bones, all except his bald head bone that grinned and grinned at the fiddler, cracked its teeth, and kept dancing. Look at that, groaned the fiddler. Play louder, cried the widow. Ho, ho, said the head bone, ain't we having fun? The fiddler couldn't stand it. Widow, he said, I'm going home, and he never came back. The family gathered up Aaron's bones and put them back in the coffin. They mixed them up so he couldn't fit them together. After that, Aaron stayed in his grave, but his widow never did get married again. Aaron had seen to that. And that's that. Those are fun. I like those. Okay, that's it. Thanks for coming, and I hope you enjoyed. Hope you have fun. I'm gonna go finish off this little adult beverage and get more high. Talk to y'all later. Have a good night.